The first question time of the week saw independent MP Sophie Scamps ask the Prime Minister when Australia would move to recognise Palestinian statehood, a topic we were just discussing there, of course, with Minister Khalil. Now, the Prime Minister reiterated that challenges remained, but also said Australia was in discussion with other countries moving forward. Here was that exchange.
When will Australia be prepared to recognise Palestine as a state?
The first is that my government is committed to a two-state solution, Israel and Palestine. That has been a bipartisan position for a long period of time. Australia played a role in the creation of the State of Israel in 1948, and it's something we should be proud of. But what was envisaged was two states, not one. The second point I'd make is that the Foreign Minister announced last year that recognition of a Palestinian state by Australia might occur before the finalisation of a peace process. The third point is that the timing of a decision to recognise the state of Palestine will be determined by whether that decision advances the realisation of that objective. It must be more than a gesture. It must be something that's a part of a moving forward. And Australia will make that decision as a sovereign state. We obviously are in discussions with other countries as well going forward.
I want to bring in the independent MP herself now. Sophie Scamps, welcome.
Thank you.
Why did you decide to ask that question? Because the crossbenchers get a choice about what questions to ask. Often they use it to ask something about their local electorate or something that they've been working on, but you chose this issue of Palestinian statehood. Why?
My office and I have been absolutely inundated with letters about what's happening in Palestine, in Gaza. People are distressed, they're distraught, they're horrified by what they're seeing on their TVs, and my staff almost can't open the emails because there's just one after another of these emails of people expressing their distress. People really do want to see Australia act to end what is happening in Gaza. What we are seeing on our television screens absolutely shames us all, and I think we can say that words are not enough. We do need to take further steps, and I think my role today was just communicating that not only to the Prime Minister but also to the other people across Australia who are feeling the same way.
Okay, so that's why you did it, because you say there's been an overwhelming push from people saying to you, you need to push it. What's the answer then? What more could Australia do? The Prime Minister keeps saying we're a middle power, we have limited role in the Middle East. I think that's right. Generally, we don't have a lot of power when it comes to the Middle East. So what could we do that could shift the dial on this?
Well, we are a respected voice, we know that, and many of the other countries that we look to who are our partners have already recognised Palestine as a state. We know France is doing that, and they're doing it for a reason, because we've seen over recent months that Israel has breached international law. They are flouting international law. So we need to go beyond words. There have been some minor sanctions, but we need to do more now to send a really strong message that we are serious about peace in the Middle East. And the path to that is the two-state solution. And part of that peace process is, of course, recognising that Palestine does have a right to self-determination. And for me, it's really important that we make that explicit now.
Okay, why now though? The Prime Minister says he's waiting for maximum impact, effectively, that it's not just a gesture, and also not just that he wants to ensure that Hamas isn't part of that process. So are those 2 points relevant? Do you think the Prime Minister is making points that make sense as we seek to have an influence here?
Absolutely. I think the Prime Minister absolutely makes sense on those 2 points. We can't have Hamas as any part of a future Palestinian state. That has to go with, goes without saying. And I think the conditions that France is imposing on recognising a Palestinian state are really important. The demilitarisation of Hamas and also the immediate release of hostages, they are really important steps to recognising the Palestinian state. But I do think, I hear the Prime Minister. It is, of course, a very difficult question when to recognise Palestine as a state. But I do feel that now is the time. I mean, how much horror can be inflicted upon the people of Palestine before we actually take one of these steps? And I think it would send a really strong signal to Israel that we are serious about the two-state solution, because I'm not so sure that Israel is serious about the two-state solution. The international community needs to make sure that that is clear, that that is the way forward. And when we look at what we want as the outcome of what we do now, we want peace in the Middle East, we want people of Israel and the people of Palestine to be able to live safely and in peace going forward. And we just need to keep our eyes on that. And we know that this issue has been intractable for many, many years in the Middle East, and we need to start doing things differently, because what is happening now is utterly horrific.
So that's, reflecting on the government's position. The opposition has been speaking about this issue too. Susan Lee has just given an interview. She's made her point, and this was echoed by Dan Tehan earlier today, that Hamas is responsible for the lack of food. But Dave Sharma actually joined me a little earlier. He's essentially broken ranks, and he's a former ambassador to Israel, saying people don't care whether it's Hamas or not, they just want to get the food in, and that Israel has a responsibility there to ensure that this happens. So there seems to be some serious disagreement going on in the opposition side. What do you make of Susan Lee's argument, though, that it's Hamas's responsibility?
Look, I think as we speak, Israel is in control of what is happening in Gaza. It is absolutely their responsibility and their obligation to ensure that aid is getting into the Gaza area and that people are not dying of starvation. I don't think you can sit back and say, oh, well, it's their fault at this point, when you have millions of people who are facing famine and man-made famine. They do have a responsibility to absolutely ensure that enough aid is getting through. And we see it's not only food aid, it's water and it's medical aid. And when you hear those stories from doctors and others on the ground of how desperately they're trying to treat people, and how there's not even anaesthesia for, children who have third-degree burns, it's utterly horrific. And we need to be listening to people on the ground. And I do think Israel has a responsibility to ensure that they are meeting international humanitarian standards and laws.
I'm going to ask a really provocative question. We have seen now for months and months and months images of children dying, limbs lost, hospitals bombed. It has been going on, rubble. This looks dystopian, the images we see of Gaza. But why has this starvation crisis meant that politicians like you, with Respect, and others are elevating this issue? Why hasn't it happened earlier?
Oh, I agree. Why hasn't it happened earlier? And I think this is just an absolute line in the sand. I think people are finding it difficult to actually, understand what they're seeing on their TV screens. And we keep hoping for the best. But I think we realise now it's not happening. So we need more than words, we need actions. And one of those steps to get to action, to get to peace, is if we start that peace process by recognising Palestine has a right to self-determination. It is. I asked that same question. Why has it taken so long? It's 20 months. And this has been going on, and we've been watching it go month after month. But people have had enough. This can't go on. And we are all shamed by what is happening in Gaza. And history will judge us and how each country responds. And I think it's absolutely time we do more than words, and we do more than sanction just two ministers in the Israeli government.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Well, continuing on this issue of the